it's not like we're going to discover this one solution that's going to overnight eliminate, but you mentioned a couple of really good things, like, our psychiatric care is really broken. I mean, one argument is, how are additional laws going to help, because you're already breaking all kinds of laws? What do you think the impact is on people getting desensitized based on media allowing so much, flexibility with what they're able to share? And what do you think? Is there anything to this idea that we're getting desensitized by media, right? Or the friends going over to their houses, which is one of my biggest concerns, because we try to meet parents that our kids hang out with. We try to like, we don't let them drive with them until we meet them and things like that. But once they actually leave the house, it's really, kids are kids, and they're going to be kids, and how do you really control that? Real line seems really fuzzy, though, to people. It's either really wide or super thin, and people step over it really easily. Because, we have these kids who, a religious family from Reynolds High School. People at church thought he was just a really nice kid, always came on Sunday. Kids in class thought he was quiet, and he talked about guns, but didn't really have any issues. He had no record. And one day he breaks into his dad's gun safe, and, takes two guns. He had a guitar. He took in a guitar case. He took the gun to school and just took the bus, rode the bus to school. His friends asked him, "What do you have in the case?" It's my stand for my uniforms. How does that happen? How does all that dialogue go on if the lines should be clear? But if he grew up around guns, if his parents had guns, it could be very commonplace. It could be like we talk about tablets and iPhones. We have so many dang devices in my house. It's crazy. The education part of it can only go so far. If someone is mentally unstable to the point where they're actually planning something like this, how do we? And he was only 14, so some people say the age of accountability is around 8 or so. So once you're no longer a little kid, and we should maybe think about taking your comments seriously from the age of 8 to 14. How many opportunities do we really have to assess somebody from a psychiatric or psychological perspective and say, okay, not only have we identified that this person probably needs help, but how would we ever think that if he did need help, it would ever come to this, and at such an age of 14 years old? And I'm not saying gun control is the answer. I don't know. I just am freaked out as a parent. So we're getting desensitized by the media itself, not necessarily by video games or movies, or maybe in addition to. Can I play devil's advocate about that? Because yes, there clearly is something disconnected there with that person, that they're willing to think this is any sort of solution, or not even a way to solve their problems, but just an option. How do they get to the point where they think I'm going to do this, whether they think it's okay or not? They've somehow justified this in their mind. But it seems like if they really, most of the time, they're planning on killing themselves afterward. They decide, they map this out. He took a tour of the school grounds. He drove there the day before to check out the time of day to make sure there were going to be enough people there. This was very methodically planned out, with the intention of killing himself afterward. Do you think there's some people say that one of the reasons why this is becoming, occurring more often, is because it's a way for them to leave their mark on the world, because they know it's going to be in the media and it's going to be covered, and their name is going to be almost memorialized along with the victims. And do you think there's any truth to that? Do you think that goes through their mind, and they think, okay, I'm going to do this because I will be known after my death? It's a kind of a fine line, though, because how do we know about these events? How do we try to educate ourselves about stopping them if we don't know any of the details?